Picture this. You walk out to your car, you slide into the driver's seat, you turn the key, and nothing. Or, honestly, maybe it's even worse. Instead of your engine roaring to life, you get that slow, agonizing clicking sound. It gets slower, it gets weaker, and then total silence, right? You have a dead battery. And in an instant, your entire day is totally derailed. But what we're going to do in this explainer is completely flip that script. We're going to turn your panic into power and take you from stranded to totally self-sufficient in just a matter of minutes.
We have literally all felt that sinking, completely helpless feeling of being stuck in a parking lot. You're suddenly late, you feel vulnerable, and you're just sitting there wondering how many hours it's going to take for a tow truck to finally show up. But I promise you, fixing this is incredibly simple. You don't need a mechanic, you definitely don't need to pay for an expensive tow. All you need to visualize are 2 cars, 2 cables, and 5 minutes of your time.
Here's our quick roadmap for this explainer to get you back on the road. 1. Why your battery died. 2. Gathering your tools. 3. The critical connection order. 4. Starting and disconnecting. And 5. After the jump start.
Okay, starting with part 1, why your battery died.
Think of this like an invisible, mechanical tag team. On one hand, your car battery really only has one main job. It exists to provide that massive jolt of electrical energy needed to wake the engine up. It powers the starter motor, the ignition, the dashboard lights, all in that exact moment of startup. But once the engine is actually running, that's when the alternator takes over. The alternator is basically a generator driven by your engine. It produces electricity while you drive and continuously recharges that battery. So here's the catch. When your engine is off, the alternator is off. And that means your battery is completely on its own.
So visualize what happens when that battery is left to fend for itself. If anything electrical stays on while the engine is off, the radio, the AC, the battery is just draining, slowly but surely until there's absolutely nothing left. The most common culprits are usually just simple human errors. Headlights left glowing overnight, a door that didn't latch fully, that little dome light burning for hours in the dark, or hey, it could just be an old battery that physically can't hold a charge anymore. You gotta find the cause and fix it. Otherwise, you're gonna be dealing with this exact same headache tomorrow.
Moving right along to section 2, gathering your tools.
$20. Seriously, that represents the roughly $20 cost of a solid set of jumper cables at literally any auto parts store. For $20, you can permanently keep a set of these in your trunk. It's a remarkably cheap, totally accessible, and incredibly empowering fix. You will absolutely thank yourself later for making this tiny investment. Now, the arsenal is simple, but keeping a clear mental picture of the colors is absolutely crucial. You need 2 cars, the dead one and a donor car with a working battery. The donor could be a neighbor, a friend, or honestly just a helpful stranger. Most people are more than happy to help out. And then you need your jumper cables, which feature 2 very distinct colors with clamps on both ends. Red is positive, black is negative. I'm actually going to say that one more time so it's permanently burned into your brain before we get to the high stakes part. Red is positive, black is negative.
All right, section 3, the critical connection order.
I'm going to slow down a bit here because this is the real climax of the whole process. If you get this order wrong, you can instantly fry the electronics of both vehicles. So before a single clamp gets attached, visualize the setup. Both cars need to be close enough for the cables to physically reach both batteries, but the cars themselves must absolutely not be touching. And remember this golden rule. The donor car's engine must be running. It cannot be off. Why? Because we specifically need the donor car's alternator to actively push the current, not just its battery. If their engine is off, you run the very real risk of draining their battery too. And then, well, you just have 2 dead cars taking up space. Okay, let's dive into this exact sequence. Steps 1 through 4. Do not change this order. Step 1. Take one end of the red cable and clamp it right onto the positive terminal of the dead battery. You're visually looking for a plus sign or the letters POS. Step 2. Take the other end of that same red cable and clamp it to the positive terminal of the donor battery. Step 3. Grab the black cable and clamp it to the negative terminal of the donor battery. Look for that minus sign or NEG. And finally, step 4, take the remaining end of the black cable and clamp it to a bare metal surface on the dead car's engine. Think a bolt, a heavy bracket, just anything unpainted and metallic. Notice what I intentionally didn't say just then. I did not say to attach that final black clamp directly to the dead battery. And there's a very dramatic reason for that. A dead battery produces hydrogen gas. When you make that very last connection to complete the electrical circuit, you will almost always see a tiny visual spark. Spark plus hydrogen gas equals an explosion. It's that simple. By connecting that last black clamp to a piece of bare metal far away from the battery itself, you ensure that the spark happens far away from any volatile gas. It is a simple, non-negotiable step to keep yourself safe.
Section 4. Starting and disconnecting.
So the cables are on, the donor car is humming, now we're in the extraction phase. First, just wait 2 to 3 minutes. Don't rush this part. You really need to let that donor car's alternator physically push some electrical charge over into your dead battery. After you've waited, try to start your car. Turn the key or push the button. If it roars to life, awesome, you nailed it. If it doesn't start, don't panic. Just wait another 2 full minutes and try again. But keep this limit in mind. Give it 3 attempts maximum. If it still won't crank after 3 tries, that battery is completely beyond a simple jump start, or the root problem is something else entirely. At that point, yeah, you truly do need a mechanic.
Okay, but let's say your car successfully started. Huge relief, right? But you're still tethered to the other vehicle. The rule for safe disconnection here is incredibly simple. You must disconnect in the exact reverse order, non-negotiable.
Let's walk through that mirror image sequence backwards. Step 1. Take the black cable off the metal ground on your car. Step 2. Take the black cable off the negative terminal of the donor battery. Step 3. Take the red cable off the positive terminal of the donor battery. And finally, Step 4. Take that last red cable off the positive terminal of your newly jumped battery. Reverse order, literally every single time.
And finally, Section 5. After the jump start.
Because look, simply getting the engine running doesn't mean your battery is suddenly back to 100%. We need to make sure you actually get home safely. Please, whatever you do not turn that engine off immediately. If you do, you are going to be right back where you started. You need to drive for a minimum of 30 minutes. The logic here ties directly back to what we visualized earlier about the alternator. You have to give the alternator the necessary time and power to fully recharge that depleted battery. And actually, highway driving is way preferred over city driving for this. Keeping your car at those constant high highway RPMs provides a much steadier, more constant charge than stopping and starting at city traffic lights.
Let's do a quick reality check on battery age 2. A standard car battery averages roughly 3 to 5 years of life. If you pull off this jump start, you drive for your 30 minutes, but then your battery is completely dead again a few days later, well, it's trying to tell you something. It is physically too old to hold a charge anymore. A jump start is just no longer a viable long-term solution. It's living on borrowed time, and you just need to replace the whole shebang. Which perfectly brings us to this final thought from our source material today. 2 cables, 5 minutes, back on the road. Red positive to positive, black negative to metal ground. This is fundamental knowledge that literally every single person who drives a car should just have in their back pocket. So think about this quote: stop being helpless, know your machine. Are you ready to take total control the next time you hear that dreaded clicking sound?